Hey, Bougie Gang, what's going on? Happy Friday. What's going on? Okay, so you guys may or may not know, we talked about this earlier in the week. Darnell Jones, the father of Kei'Mani Latigue, was in court earlier this week, and they stated that they were coming back on Friday. I think it was on Tuesday, if my memory is correct, because I think it was the 16th. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday, and they were talking about something with Child Protective Services, that whole thing. They were trying to get some records, and they'd issued a subpoena, like a blanket subpoena for some records, and Child Protective Services put through a motion to quash. The motion to quash did get filed, and basically they're basically saying that it's like too much to ask. CPS doesn't own all of the records from Toledo, from Lucas County. Part of it's Cuyahoga County, and some of the things have nothing to do with the defendant. But most importantly, and what I thought was very interesting, is that they mentioned that there were some that specifically they wanted records as it pertained to Darnell Jones, Dorothy Latigue, Kei'Mani Latigue, and maybe Kei'Mani's mother. There were like 4 people on there. And Dorothy Latigue was definitely on there. Now, why they wanted that information from CPS as it related to Kei'Mani, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. We might hear something today. So we're going to get into that in just a minute. It just ended not too long ago. So we're going to get into that, and then I'm going to shut it down, and we'll come back a little bit later, like at lunchtime. But we shouldn't be too long here right now. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, we're going to hear from our sponsor.
TTP body. After years of trying countless products that didn't deliver, Los Angeles native Tamara Palmer decided to create her own. The result? TTP body, where beauty and soul are nurtured together. Fuel your follicles, strengthen your strands, and let your hair flourish with the Ready, Set, Grow Hair Growth Oil. Kissed by an Angel, designed to deeply replenish and protect. Forever Young Body Butter. Indulge your skin with buttery richness and all-day moisture. Enjoy the Detox Me face mask. From scalp to skin, deep, clean, bold shine. TTP Body has you covered from head to toe. Glow is just one click away. Hydrate, radiate, repeat. Discover TCP Body today.
Okay, guys, let's get into it. Like I said, Darnell Jones was in court today, not too long ago, probably ended about a half an hour ago. Let's get into it. Let's see what was going on in the court. As you can see, though, immediately right behind Darnell is Dorothy Latigue right there. Just a second, guys. Okay, guys, sorry about that. Look at Dorothy Latigue right there. Anyway, let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. Well, if he, girl, it was very ghetto. Hold on. Mother of the victim, please, or the.
Remember Furby?
I remember Furby.
Yeah, the fuzzy creature with piglet.
Okay, thank you. Let's begin with the agenda. Mr. Jones, I know we just saw each other about 4 days ago. You told me about how you're update if you would on how you're doing today. All right. How's the pain level? Then at one time you got 6 out of 10, then it was an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, something like that.
Where are you today?
Probably like 5, I think.
Good. Going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You told me Monday that you are doing your own physical therapy. The doctors gave you some exercises and things to do to get better, right?
Yes, sir.
You're still doing that?
Yes, sir.
You also told me, I think it was your right foot was sort of floppy.
That's both feet.
Both feet? And getting some mobility back in those feet?
Not so far. Well, I don't have them in these shoes, but in the other shoes, I have like an insert that goes into them that holds my calf.
Okay. That helping?
It helps me move around better.
Well, you got a ways to go with the recovery, it sounds like, but you're on the right track. We also talked Monday, and I want to talk about it today again. The medications you're taking, can you tell me today what you know what medications you're taking?
I don't exactly know all the names. I just know what their purpose would be for.
Okay, what are the purpose of the different drugs you take?
Pain meds, psych meds, and like school softeners and stuff like that.
Are all of those medications helping you to, number one, control the pain, and number two, also help you to communicate with your attorneys when they come to see you, communicate with other members of the defense team who come to see you?
Yes,
Okay. At any time have you taken these medications, whether alone or in combination? Because I'm guessing you're taking pain meds while you're also taking the psychiatric medication. Do they interact in a way so as to fog your mind or cloud your mind or affect your memory, anything like that?
no, sir.
Good. All right. I presume your lawyers have been coming to visit you regularly, correct?
Yes, sir.
Been talking with you and giving you lots of information that the state has turned over to them. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You still trust them?
Yes.
Do you like them?
So far.
Sometimes they have to be the bearer of news that you probably don't want to hear. Other times, maybe not so much.
I don't want to interrupt too much. I'm going to let it play all the way through, and then we'll go back and talk about it, because I feel like last time I kind of talked through it. Some people want to just watch it, so I get it. We'll watch it. It's not too long, and then we'll circle back. But obviously, Kei'Mani Latigue's grandmother doesn't understand what's going on here. Basically, this is somewhat of a voir dire, not officially, but the judge is trying to determine his current state. Is he participating in his defense? Is his defense communicating with him? Is he in pain? This is a capital murder case, and he could stand for the death penalty. And because of that and all of the technicalities, it seems like the judge is always kind of doing like a wellness check-in with him. How are you feeling? Are you alert? Are you coherent? Did you take your medicine today? Are you aware of what's going on? Do you understand why you're here today? How are you feeling? Blah, da, 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 da. So once the trial is happening, he can't really say that he wasn't aware of what was going on. He wasn't participating in the process. I was on medication. All of every single court date, he's checking in with Darnell to ask him, how is he doing? How is he feeling? What's going on? Talk to me about this. Do you need anything? All of these things. Are your attorneys providing for you? So it won't be any kind of ineffective assistance of counsel, or I was medically unable to know what was going on. I was zooted out on drugs. All the things that he could say to try to nullify any type of a verdict, or he didn't get a fair shot. all of those things, every time they meet, he's asking him those questions.
I can appreciate that, but I'm pleased to hear, and I've heard at each of these pre-trials that we've had together, that you're getting along well, you're able to communicate.
Exactly. So competency. I think they did do a psychological evaluation, and it did determine that he was mentally fit and capable and willing to want to help with his defense. But also, just because he's been shot 3 times, he was severely injured, he's not able to walk, he's on pain medication above and beyond like his mental abilities, I guess, due to the condition right now. They also, it's just, again, part of, I guess, that regular competency check-in. So, these are the things that can make something get overturned or questioned in an appellate court. And the judge is making sure every time he's checking in with Mr. Jones to make sure he's good. It's not to show favoritism, or anything like that. It's to make whatever this process that they're going through right now, that the state is spending money on, stick, basically, whether he's found innocent or guilty. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that that there's nothing that comes back.
They're able to communicate with you, they're coming to see you regularly. All that's correct, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Klukas, I guess I'll ask you first, is all of what I just went through accurate with Mr.?
It is. It is.
And you've been able to effectively communicate with your client?
We have, all 3 of us have been over to see Mr. Jones on numerous occasions, sometimes collectively, sometimes individually. In those collective exercises, I don't think anybody has thought that there's a communication issue, and certainly in my individual interaction with Darnell, there has not been a communication issue.
Ms. Bronis, let me ask you the same kind of question. I know you've gone over individually as well to see Mr. Jones.
That's correct.
And you've had no problems with communication, have you?
No, Mr. Jones is always very interested in meeting with us. He's very polite. He provides us ongoing information and is able to, appears to understand everything that we're telling him and asks questions. And sometimes he comes prepared with a list of things he would like to know. And we do our very best to provide him the information he's asking for. Things are going very well as far as the relationship, I believe.
Okay, thank you. Last question, same question rather, for Ms. Eisenberg.
Your Honor, I would echo the sentiments of both my counsel.
Okay. I might ask Ms. Bronis, I know that you've come to report to Pam occasionally the status of things. So since I asked Mr. Klukas the first question last time, I'll ask you, have you had any problems accessing the defendant and or providing the defendant with discovery, whether digital, on a computer, paper, etc.?
No, I haven't, Judge. Every once in a while, if I ask for a very short appointment and I say, if this can't be done and we could do it another time, then they'll give me another time. We're working it out. I mean, there's no issues with getting the opportunity to see Mr. Jones.
Good.
So that's all working out, and having to bring up whatever we need, computers or stacks of paper or whatever. I haven't had any issues with anybody at the jail making that work, even if it takes a little bit of time to get the appointment set.
Ditto, Mr. Klukas?
Ditto for me, and I wanted to add that we we've not had any issue getting the appropriate experts in either. They've all been security cleared. The judge or the jail knows who they are, and we have not had any trouble getting experts in there either.
Great, thank you. Ms. Tuck, you're looking at me now, and Ms. Tech was averting her gaze. Can you tell me what the status of discovery is?
I did touch base with the FBI agent who's finalizing the cast report. He indicates 30 days, if not sooner, that would be turned over to the state so that we can turn that over to defense. The state of Ohio met with investigators a few weeks ago, and we decided under a theory of best practices to submit just a few additional items to BCI for DNA testing and analysis. Those were submitted approximately 2 weeks ago. We were hoping to have those results back in about 4 weeks. There were additional hand-delivered items that were given to defense counsel today. Those are items that couldn't be uploaded into the matrix case management system. Those were bait stamped, and we documented that those items were hand-delivered by a filing with the clerk's office today. There is one additional TPD report that was emailed to me yesterday that will go out in discovery, and then I believe we're just waiting one final TPD report.
So you expect 2 additional TPD reports to be coming your way?
One I already am in possession of, I just received it yesterday, so that will go out shortly. And then one I do not have.
The material that you handed over today, could you, in general terms, describe what that material is?
Yes, Judge, that is a compilation of criminal background checks for the defendant and witnesses in this case that under our contracts with Norris and various criminal institutions that were not allowed to upload into Matrix. So it was redacted with the appropriate redactions and delivered to defense counsel.
Any reciprocal discovery been turned over to the state?
Not yet. The state did file, when they responded to our initial discovery demand, they requested reciprocal discovery. Then I think last week they filed a new discovery demand, and I contacted the state and indicated to them that we would have an initial disclosure for them by the end of this month or the first week in October. I did file a discovery response earlier this week indicating that as of the date of that response, we don't have anything to disclose. I did that to protect any potential speedy trial issue that may arise down the road. We certainly have things to disclose. And I had emailed the state and said, we'll have it to you here by the end of September, first week in October. And that's still on track. We'll have a disclosure, an initial disclosure anyways, by the end of this month or the first week in October.
Okay, thanks. I think there were some 911 calls when we were together last time with our status reach out.
Those have been sent out in discovery.
So with that ongoing exchange of discovery, as I said, it's ongoing, but we had discussed before, I think you represented to the court that you would have some discovery motions in August. I know that seems to be delayed now. We're in September, and perhaps some search warrant motions coming yet by the end of this month.
Let me take those in order. We did file what I would characterize as one discovery-oriented motion already, which is referenced in the court's agenda for the Brady material. At this point, up till now, anyways, some of the discovery motions that I would characterize as being standard in the battery of capital motions are not applicable primarily because of the amount of discovery we've received already. I don't know what the state knows, so I can't stand up and say they actually have given us everything, but we have been given a lot of material. And some of that material, even though we filed the Brady motion, I would characterize, at least in some respect, as Brady material. I don't want to file unnecessary motions. There's one more discovery motion coming next week. That may be it as far as the discovery motions go. I would expect, moving to the search warrant suppression motions, I would expect those probably to be into the court by the end of next week. Is that safe?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Okay, thank you.
I did want to add one other thing, though. It's kind of a tale from our discussion in open court on Monday regarding the additional CSB motions. We have taken some affirmative steps to kind of cut through the Cuyahoga County red tape. I'm not promising that we'll be ready by next week, but pretty close. We'll have the motion for Cuyahoga County, and we'll have figured out the procedure for serving out-of-county subpoenas, hopefully by the end of next week, and we have identified a third county. There was some uncertainty on my part as to what that third county would be, but we have identified the also a county about the size of Toledo, maybe a little smaller, but there's some bureaucracy involved there too. So we're cutting through that. That motion for records, I would expect to be in maybe 2 weeks.
Thanks. If you would, I think we may discuss this before. If you're requesting a hearing, please so note on the motion.
I'm sorry.
If you're requesting a hearing on any of these motions, or if your motion is simply for me to decide on the papers, just so.
I hear when the court made it to item number 7,
Okay.
and it says hearing requested, and the answer is no, because we didn't request one. So we would always put, if we want a hearing, it'll be on the motion.
Okay. We had talked about, I believe, the last time, competency, NGRI, SMI, ID, all of those sorts of things. Can you tell me where the defense is?
Sure. Well, I can in a general sense. So our mitigation specialists have generated a significant amount of records. And we have some other experts that are assisting us in the evaluation of that. We, all three of us, Ms. Eisenberg, Ms. Bronis, and I, we need to double check best practices in this kind of a case with respect to competency. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do about that, if anything, right now. We are absolutely exploring the possibility of an SMI petition. The way the defense reads the statute, we only get one chance. We do not want to be hasty if we choose to exercise that. I would say maybe later in the fall, we could have something a little more definitive as to, number one, whether we're going to pursue that, and number two, when the filing that would initiate that proceeding would be in. I'm just not, other than it's being explored aggressively, I'm just not in a position to say anything.
We discussed Lorraine County records previously. Bronis?
Judge,
Okay, so I did look up what an SMI petition is. It's a serious mental illness petition. So SMI petition can refer to a few different things. Serious mental illness designation to access behavioral health services, a petition to the court for a court-ordered mental health evaluation or treatment. I think when I looked in the docket, he's already had an evaluation, but maybe they feel like additional treatment. I mean, at the end of the day, none of this is going to get him excused. It could just save his life from the death penalty because he's up for the death penalty and his crime is egregious. But there's nothing normal about what he's accused of, the sexual abuse of his daughter and the murder, right? There's nothing, So now you did also hear the prosecutor say that they just sent off some DNA testing. Now, if that's the DNA testing to actually determine whether he is Kei'Mani's father or not, maybe, I'm not sure, but I would hope that they have double checked that because I feel like it makes it even worse if that is her father. Either way, it's horrible, but I think that should have been a no-brainer to have had that done months ago. But if they didn't, hopefully somebody will check that box because paternity is at question right now. Because Toledo Child Protective Services never determined Kei'Mani was never legitimized by Darnell. So there was never any DNA testing that he was her father. He was actually her father. He was just the man who acted in that capacity. But for this process, it's absolutely something that they need to do to make sure that he is her father. Period. So, just to kind of put that in there, but it looks like they are concerned about his mental status, but I think it doesn't necessarily mean he won't stand trial. It just means they're trying to maybe chip away at the death penalty and him having to sit on death row.
In our research, we're at the point where we suspect there might not be a record, but it's my intention to request a transcript, which should clarify that. So we had talked about that when we last had a Team Darnell meeting, and that's just on the list of things to do that I'll be requesting a transcript regarding the Lorain County proceedings that should clarify.
There was filed by Mr. Daly on behalf of CSB a motion to quash. Mr. Lucas, I understand that from Pam that you wanted to address that in court today.
So I did. But in an exercise of fairness, I had emailed Mr. Daly at what turned out to be his old email address, indicating that we did not intend to respond in writing to the state's reply, but that I did want to have an opportunity to argue briefly. And the reason I said that yesterday is so that Mr. Daly could get, ready for an argument and get his client over here, and none of that happened, because my email bounced back to me saying it was undeliverable. Before the case was called this morning, I indicated to Mr. Daly that yes, I was ready to argue, but he didn't know, and if he wanted to set the matter for a brief argument next week, that is fine with us. Because I despite my best efforts, I didn't give him a heads up that I was showing up ready to argue today. So that's where that issue stands.
Your Honor, that's correct. I did provide Mr. Klukas my correct email address. When I left the county, they deactivated the email address and changed one letter when it was reactivated, which caused this issue. My client, Lucas County Children's Services, is not here today because the anticipation was, well, we haven't received anything, we haven't heard anything, so therefore we don't think it's going to go forward today. On behalf of my client, I would ask that this be scheduled for next week. If there needs to be a hearing on it, and it does sound like that's the request.
And do you have a calendar up? Next Friday is unavailable for the court. You anticipate about a half hour?
Yeah, I believe I had indicated to Ms. Jagos that I wanted to argue briefly, and that's really what we want. So a half hour should be plenty.
I might suggest, if it gives both sides enough time, Wednesday, September 24th, at the end of our docket. We usually wrap up our dockets on or before 2 o'clock. We could make this at, say, 3 or 3:30 to provide plenty of time to.
One sec. I know that's good for me, but let me check with my colleague. Okay, good for the defense. Ms. Eisenberg may not be able to make it, but as we have in the past, we'll talk to Mr. Jones and make sure he's okay to go with just the 2 of us.
You okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey?
Your Honor, that works with my schedule. I will double check with legal manager at CSB. However, I'm sure if not her, someone will be available.
Say 3:30?
3:30?
Yeah, that's good.
Should be
Yeah.
safe to get everybody out from docket, get attorneys, defendants, et cetera, out,
Yeah.
allow you time to get in and set up.
That'd be fine.
Wednesday, September 24th. 3:30 p.m.
There's a hearing.
This will be a hearing on the motion to quash. And victim representative is present in court. You're here for that date and time. That'll be the next time that we'll have a they have a present in court. Any written response to the Brady motion? Ms. Latigue?
Not as of yet, Judge. We just received that, I believe. It was this week, and co-counsel and I have been in trial, so we'll have a response to that shortly.
Still in trial?
It ended last night, Judge.
There are some motions still pending before the court. I know that we've talked about that before. And in terms of whether that affects your client's decision with Lucas to execute a time waiver, how would you like to handle?
Here's how I'd like to handle this today, if it's okay with the court. We have motions pending that have not been decided, so we acknowledge time's been told. I don't know if at the end of this proceeding, the court intended to schedule another status pretrial, or if you wanted to defer that till after the argument on Wednesday. So for right now, we don't feel like we need to sign another time waiver right now. We know time is told. And if there's another pretrial scheduled at the conclusion of the hearing on Wednesday, then it would be our intention to sign a time waiver from that date to the scheduled pretrial.
Hold on to that until Wednesday then.
Yeah.
To clarify, there was a motion, defense motion number 6, and that was to issue a subpoena to produce records. Just so the records, you actually did issue that. We talked about that Monday.
We did.
And the state, Mr. Daly, has responded. There was also a motion, I believe, captioned motion number 7 regarding expert assistance, which we, pursuant to Rule 42, discussed in camera ex parte chamber on the record. And I just want to clarify that I don't believe that motion. Let me ask, I'll put a form of a question. Has that motion in your mind been ruled out?
No, it does not.
Because as I understand
I'm sorry, the court's certainly aware of everything, but I would not consider that motion to have been decided by the court.
The court would concur with that as well, based on the discussions we had with some more things coming to the defense attention.
Correct. I would add that I think also motion number 8 is also a tolling event as well.
Okay.
I mean, the state they said that they hadn't responded. They were going to respond. So to me, that's a pending motion as well. So we have several motions that I think certainly toll time till next Wednesday.
Sure. Well, and you have, as you mentioned, I'm expecting some more discovery motions next week, in the next couple of weeks, and the next 2 weeks. So,
correct.
Did you want to revisit bail? We've talked about it each time.
No.
It's looked at, was cut. Are there any issues that the state wanted to bring to the court's attention? Mr. Lucas, Ms. Bronis, Ms. Eisenberg.
We're fine, Judge. Thank you.
We'll see everybody then this Wednesday coming up, 24th of September at 3:30, specifically to your argument on the CSP's motion to quash, discuss time waiver at that time. And of course, if there's anything else that comes up between now and then, we can discuss that at that time as well.
Very well. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I tried to minimally interrupt. I want to see if I can reset this to see if it comes back better. Just a second. I feel like it was a little pixelated. Okay, just a second, guys. Or maybe that's just the feed. So any of you guys coming in late, or since it got started, let's see. Okay, so we just let it run through for the most part, no interruptions. The ladies that were there on last week, earlier in the week, first of all, number one, there's court next week again on Thursday at 3:30. They're coming back to argue the Child Protective Services. Darnell's team wants access to Kei'Mani's CPS records. Why? I do not know. Let me see. Gosh, I don't have them out in front of me. Just a second. Let me see if I can pull them up. He wants. They basically just put out a subpoena for those records, right? Okay, let me show you guys this before we get started. Hold on. Where are you guys? Okay, here we go. Let's look. Okay, so this is what just happened today, right? Date September 19th. Powers ordered. So court reporter Powers ordered. State of Ohio, Jennifer Liptick, Maggie Koch, William Daly, all the attorneys that were present on behalf of defendant. The defendant, Darnell Jones, was in court. Matter called for status pretrial pursuant to the request of the defendant's matter scheduled for hearing on the motion to quash September 24th. So they're coming back September 24th at 3:30. So I like this because they do kind of give a little summary of the actions for the day. And he's still remanded into custody. Obviously, the motion to quash, I feel like I downloaded this already. They really don't want to turn over these records. They say that there's confidentiality. I don't think they've established paternity, above and beyond. He says he's the father. That's why I think they're doing the DNA testing, if that's the DNA testing that they're doing. But now you're trying to get Kei'Mani's private records. And if, we don't really know if the mom was with the shits or not. Darnell may or may not be the actual relative of Kei'Mani. So it's best that they double check that before you start handing over records. Not to say that the records aren't going to be relevant, but he may really not have access to certain records. He might have some privilege because he could be potentially the father, but a could be and is are two different things. And they need to be able to establish paternity. And she was never legitimized as her father prior to her death. That's my point. So anyway, the motion to quash basically, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, the state of Ohio is saying that there's such records could contain HIPAA, protected medical information on unrelated minors. So if there were other things that were going on and they mentioned other people's names, it would have to be heavily redacted. Like, these are private, confidential situations. Also, situations that may or may not have had findings or not, just things that were reported to CPS, and why you're going to use these things potentially in Mr. Jones's defense, and that's not what CPS records are for. And also, we don't really know who this man is. He's purported to be her father, but there's no evidence at this moment that he is, right? So basically, they're just saying that based on a number of reasons, we do not want to turn over these records. And if we do, they will be highly redacted. And also, if we turn over, we're not turning over everything. And what we do turn over would have to be highly redacted. So that's basically CPS's position on her records. Also, because if you guys remember when Kei'Mani first died, CPS in Toledo got dragged because there were cases and there were things that were not investigated thoroughly, and CPS were called to the carpet for having failed Kei'Mani Latigue. So I think also there just might be some things in the record too that they probably just don't want to get, I don't know. Nothing can excuse what he did, Darnell Jones, but I just, CPS is obviously being very protective over their records, and that's basically what's going on right now. Okay. Let's get back to over here. So we see Dorothy finally made an appearance in court. Dorothy is right here with someone else, and then the Kei'Mani crew is back here. The ladies that were here on Tuesday that we were like, who's that? Who's that? That might be the lady who had the the scarf on with the wig. That lady was obviously there. There was another lady. I don't think this is someone else, but they all have on those Kei'Mani crew t-shirts. And then here's Dorothy and her people closer to the front. So I don't know if we need to listen to this again, but it's not super long, but we can go through and see what's going on. The one thing that caught me, so at the very beginning, I think it was acknowledged that Kei'Mani's grandmother was in the gallery, and the judge did acknowledge her.
Let's begin with the agenda, Mr. Jones. I know we just saw each other about 4 days ago. You told me about how you're doing. Give me an update if you would on how you're doing today.
Right, pre-trial.
Right.
Pre-trial.
Then at one time you got 6 out of 10, then it was an 8 or 9 out of 10.
Yeah, something like that.
Where are you today?
Probably like 5, I think.
Good. Going in the right direction.
Yeah.
You told me Monday that you are doing your own physical therapy. The doctors gave you some exercises and things to do to get better, right?
Yes, sir.
You're still doing that?
Yes, sir.
You also told me, I think it was your right foot was sort of floppy.
That's both feet.
Both feet?
So his feet are floppy. Someone mentioned he might have drop foot. I'm not sure what he has. He might have weakened nerves because of the gunshot. He may have some slight deficits. He could be uh healing bones if he had some fractures, if any of the bullets hit his bones. We don't really know what kind of work was like, what actually happened, but he was in the hospital for a significant period of time. He's been in the wheelchair for months now, so he's not able to he doesn't have his capacity to walk back. So these are all, things that are being looked at, but it's not going to stop him from going to trial. It's not going to stop him from going to court. Even if he has a severe mental illness, as long as he is coherent and he's able to help in his defense, he will be sitting at a trial. It's not going to stop him from serving a sentence if he were found guilty. These are just things that they have to do and have to talk about, or he could be walking back on the streets with a good lawyer to come and argue all of these things that nobody paid attention to. So they're definitely paying attention to these things to make sure, again, crossing T's, dotting I's.
Mobility back in those feet?
Not so far.
Also, with the death penalty, it's like the cruel and unusual punishment. So to make sure he's aware, he understands he's sitting for a death penalty case, all of those things. So this'll be every single time he comes to court.
I don't have them in these shoes, but in the other shoes, they can have like an insert that goes into them that holds my calf.
That helping?
It helps me move around.
Well, you got a ways to go with the recovery, it sounds like, but you're on the right track. We also talked Monday, and I want to talk about it today again. The medications you're taking, can you tell me today what you know what medications you're taking?
I don't exactly know all the names. I just know what their purpose would be for.
Okay, what are the purpose of the different drugs you take?
Pain meds, psych meds, and like school sophomores and stuff like that.
I'm going to skip to where the prosecutor's talking about some of the things that they've had done regarding the discovery submittals and a couple of other things. If you want to run this back to the beginning, we heard the entire colloquy of the defendant and the judge basically asking about his current how he's doing and how he's getting along and if he needs anything, and then also from his lawyer's ability to be able to get in contact with him and discuss his case. This is the prosecuting attorney.
30 days, if not sooner, that would be turned over to the state so that we can turn that
Okay, let me go back just a little bit.
I did touch base with the FBI agent who's finalizing the cast report. He indicates 30 days, if not sooner, that would be turned over to the state so that we can turn that over to defense. The state of Ohio met with investigators a few weeks ago, and we decided under a theory of best practices to submit just a few additional items to BCI for DNA testing and analysis. Those were submitted approximately 2 weeks ago. We were hoping to have those results back in about 4 weeks.
Just so you know, an FBI cast report refers to an analysis or finding from the FBI's Cellular Analysis Survey Team, which consists of highly trained special agents who specialize in analyzing historical cell site data to aid in investigations. CAS reports are used by law enforcement to determine possible locations of cell phones by mapping of historical connections in different cell towers, providing crucial evidence in criminal cases. This analysis is different from real-time GPS data and is based on historical records such as call records, tower information, cell sector data, and to reconstruct the phone's movements. So she was saying she was waiting on the FBI's cast report. She says she's waiting. It's coming in less than 30 days.
There were additional hand-delivered items that were given to defense counsel today. Those are items that couldn't be uploaded into the Matrix case management system. Those were bait stamped, and we documented that those items were hand-delivered by a filing with the clerk's office today. There is one additional TPD report that was emailed to me yesterday that will go out in discovery, and then I believe we're just waiting one final TPD report.
That's what she's got as far as pretrial discovery information for the defense.
You expect 2 additional TPD reports to be coming your way?
One I already am in possession of. I just received it yesterday, so that will go out shortly. And then one I do not have.
The material that you handed over today, could you, in general terms, describe what that material is?
Yes, Judge, that is a compilation of criminal background checks for the defendant and witnesses in this case that under our contracts with Norris and various criminal institutions that were not allowed to upload into Matrix. So it was redacted with the appropriate redactions and delivered to defense counsel.
Any reciprocal discovery been turned over to the state?
Not yet. The state did file, when they responded to our initial discovery demand, they requested reciprocal discovery. Then I think last week they filed a new discovery demand, and I contacted the state and indicated to them that we would have an initial disclosure for them by the end of this month or the first week in October. I did file a discovery response earlier this week, indicating that as of the date of that response, we don't have anything to disclose. I did that to protect any potential speedy trial issue that may arise down the road. We certainly have things to disclose. And I emailed the state and said, we'll have you here by the end of September, first week in October. And that's still on track. We'll have a disclosure, an initial disclosure anyways by the end.
So they're trying to stick with a speedy trial. Someone asked, is it okay to have your arms out in court? I guess, I don't know. I guess they're trying to work with sis. Sis has, sis might be, it might be okay. It's still summer and maybe they're okay with her having her arms out, is that, she has on a dress. So I guess they're okay with that. Maybe she should have her office blazer or her office sweater, but she might, that might be a challenge. It's not federal court. Yeah. Yeah, they might be okay with that. And hopefully she has her emergency like black or blue blazer in her car. I mean, everybody, like if you're going to work in the office, you should always have some sort of blazer just in case you get called into the office. Anyway, yes. I guess it's okay for her to have her arms out.
I think there were some 911 calls when we were together last time with our status reach out.
Those have been sent out.
So with that ongoing exchange of discovery, as I said, it's ongoing, but we had discussed.
His lawyer is so damn animated. Do you see how he made that move? It's like everything is, look, he's just, and then he goes into,
As I said, it's ongoing, but we had discussed.
he's so animated. Anyway, then there's this exchange with CPS, and basically they're going to meet on Thursday, so nothing there. They decided on next week, Thursday at 3:30. So this was not really eventful, just in the sense that more court next week. It's picking up when they're going to trial, baby. No date has been set yet. And is the screen going to go white? Let's see when they take Darnell out of there. He's not going to do the shackle shuffle. He's going to do the wheelchair shackle shuffle. I guess they didn't even bother to put handcuffs on him because he can't walk. So where's he? They don't have to worry about him trying to take off. He's not shackled, it doesn't appear, and he is not handcuffed, it doesn't appear.
3:30, specifically to your argument on the.
His legs look very skinny.
Just time waiver at that time.
Very well, thank you, Judge.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, there goes the wheelchair situation. I mean, okay, Dorothy Latigue, good job showing up finally. Did his lawyer even go say goodbye to him? He ran right over there to go talk to the ladies. All right, let me say something about this. We'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so they called court over. Clucas gets up and goes. Did he even say goodbye to Darnell? No.
Very well, thank you, Judge.
Thank you, everybody.
Clucas is thirsty for clout. Let me tell you why. One of the first court sessions, Clucas's son, I don't know if you guys caught this or not. One of the first, not when he was being arraigned, but when he first started sitting in front of this particular judge, and they appointed Clucas to him as his attorney, who's death penalty certified. Clucas's son works in the district attorney's office. If I were Darnell, I would have said no. They asked him when he was still recovering, was he okay with that there was a potential conflict, that Clucas's son works for the district attorney. And he said he was okay with it. They signed off that there would be no discussions of the case, or there would be no conflict of interest, blah, 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 whatever. He would not be assigned to help or clerk or anything on the case, anything like that. They would maintain separate. But it's funny how, look how he just kind of runs to the prosecutors to go talk to them. The ladies say goodbye. Clucas is over there talking to Miss Ma'am, and look, he's not even paying attention to your own client leaving in a wheelchair. Okay, Darnell, you should have turned that down. Look at Dorothy Latigue. There's the Kei'Mani crew back there. Okay. One of his attorneys looked like Morticia. Is her name Morticia Adams?
Other people sign.
Oh, what's the wheelchair for? He got shot in his legs. He got shot. Are those the 4 guys? Y'all, yesterday, let me tell you about this. So yesterday, let me tell you about this. This has nothing
People
to do
now
with
behind
Darnell.
bars.
Maybe I should come back and talk to you guys about this. But yesterday, somebody was these guys allegedly were trying to steal a car in South Charlotte. You know how people are nosy, right? People are nosy. You hear something going on, you look out the window, baby. Somebody was trying to steal a Dodge, I don't know, Charger, Challenger. They were trying to steal something, and it was in a townhouse complex. So somebody looks out the window, baby. They shot into the house and unalived a 4-year-old. Okay. They rounded these guys up so fast, baby. Streets were shut down. They were not playing. They caught these guys before sundown. Let me let y'all hear the story real quick.
After the murder of a 4-year-old boy.
Live at 5, investigators are giving us an idea of a possible motive here.
WBTV's Michael Warwick's been following this story. He's at CMPD headquarters tonight. So, Michael, what are police saying about why this happened?
Investigators say, sadly, it may have been as simple as someone inside the boy's townhome looking out a window while this group was stealing a car. Police across the metro say they've linked these 4 men to at least 3 car thefts, including the one yesterday in Steel Creek. They range in age from 18 to 24, and they're now all charged with first-degree murder. Police have identified the child as 4-year-old Jace Edwards. They don't believe anyone inside his home ever threatened the alleged thieves when that home was shot at.
And I just want to stress the gravity of the situation, that a 4-year-old child has died over a car.
Police arrested 3 of Jace's accused killers during a standoff in Steel Creek yesterday. Raleigh police arrested the 4th today. Investigators were able to identify the group because of the stolen cars they say they tracked from both Cabarrus and York counties. We're live at CMPD headquarters. Michael Warwick, WBTV.
It's not worth it stealing cars. Have trackers on them, and people have trackers on their trackers. Okay. They got all kinds of stuff. It's not even worth messing around with these vehicles because you will be found. It's crazy, and it's so sad. Because there was just a case prosecuted. It was on court TV, I think. A little girl was killed in maybe a similar set of circumstances. So they were out doing something. The little girl got killed, and then here we go again. You know, it's unfortunate. And I feel sorry for that parent because they probably feel responsible in the sense that, well, if I hadn't looked out the window, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with looking out a window. There's nothing wrong with checking and seeing what's like, do I hear something? What's going on outside? But you got to realize some of these people out here are on some shoot 'em up, bang, bang. And if you got some people who are about that, just shoot 'em up, bang, bang. These walls are not made of concrete, and it's very sad. I'm sure that parent is really going through it right now for so many different reasons, but it's really, really, it's just horrible.
On your side.
Can't help but shake your head at this one. Michael, thank you. WBTV's Rachel Richardson joining us now live from the neighborhood where the shooting happened.
Yeah, Rachel, I know you've been talking to neighbors there. What's their reaction to these arrests?
Many of the neighbors that I spoke with out here today say that they are relieved that 4 arrests have been made, but there's still a lot of fear in this community after Wednesday's shooting. Now, many of the neighbors that I chatted with tell me that their attention has been redirected to supporting Jason.
I'm telling you, you can't look out the window anymore. You need to have your cameras set up, and baby, the infrareds. You know what I'm saying? You got the cameras. You don't have to worry about looking out blinds. Okay. Nobody has to see a shadow, see anything move. Do you imagine you're down there stealing a car and you see to the point where, I don't know if somebody opened the blinds, they lifted up the blinds, what happened? But for them to know, they're busy stealing a car and they happen to notice you looking out the window, that was not good. and you got some badass kids out there, badass young people,
Edward's family.
you got to look on the app.
Breaks my heart, and it is scary. You know, it's one street over. I walk my dog through on that road. My neighbor, my good friend lives over there. So I was very, my heart just broke.
Neighbors around the Cigar Court home that was shot into early Wednesday morning say they couldn't sleep after the shooting.
It was very scarce to sleep last night, but when we woke up to the news this morning, I was relieved. It's still a little scary and iffy, but kind of glad, they caught.
They were glad to wake up this morning and learn that 24-year-old Marquise Guyere, 20-year-old Angelo Hudson, and 23-year-old Jordan Davis were all arrested. And now Thursday, 18-year-old Anthony Abel has been arrested as well. All four charged with murder. But they tell me the loss of 4-year-old Jace Edwards will leave a hole in this community.
He was very joyful, always. His joy is gonna be missed.
Now, many in this neighborhood are working to show Jace's family support after the unimaginable loss.
And it's just so sad that your family is going through that, and that's very unfortunate that that happened to them. And
I wouldn't look out a window. Oh my God, I would be so scared. I mean, the person simply looked out the window and boom. You can't look out the window. That's what that says to me. That's scary. I really think at this point you got to have cameras outside. That's it. You just have to have cameras. You cannot be seen trying to observe what's going on, or else someone's going to turn around with their weapon and shoot at your fucking window. And that's it. And then what's going to happen?
my heart goes out to you and your family.
Coming up at 6, I'll have more from these neighbors and who they tell me little Jace was.
Isn't it awful?
In Charlotte, Rachel Richardson, WBTV, on your side.
Okay. We'll come back. We'll come back with some more news. This was really on some Darnell Jones. Just had his pretrial. He'll be back in court next week at 3:30 in the afternoon for what in the child support records do you need? That's what I want to know. What's in those what are you trying to, I want them to ask, what is it in these child protective services records that you need, that you think you need, or that is going to help with your case? Because I'm sure they're probably going to ask, what is it specifically that you need? What is it specifically that you're trying to get? They only want them to be available in camera, in front of the judge, limited and redacted, all of those things. So I don't know if he's going to get what he thinks he wants. As far as a defense for what happened, I don't know. I think we're going to see. I think I don't know what his attorneys are trying to do. I guess I'm going to reserve my comment. I don't know what he's going to be able to defend when I think he gave a statement stating that he did do the things that have been alleged were done. So we'll see. We shall see. I don't either. Like when people come to the door, I don't even go right to the monitor. I can talk to you right through the tablet monitor, and that's it. I'm sorry. Someone knocked on the door the other day when I was live. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm on Zoom. I didn't want to say I'm on YouTube. I said I'm on Zoom and I can't talk right now. Okay. My other one is if it seems like something like, okay, I'm like, come back after 6:00 and talk to my husband or whatever. But other than that, no, I'm not available for chit chat with strangers. I don't know you, and no, I'm not opening up my door. Anywho, you guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I'll be back. What time is it? Yeah, I'll be back in like an hour or so, and we'll get into some more news. We'll get caught up on some other stuff that's going on. I'll talk to you guys later. Happy Friday, guys. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Make sure your notifications are set so that when I go live next time, you will be notified. I'll go ahead and post the live for like 12:15, 12:30, something like that. and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, take care, guys.